All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. We are in greenhouse 2 again today, looking to get this converted from summer vegetable production into winter chicken housing. So in the last video, we finished off with putting the full perimeter cage around to protect the plastic. And then me and Shaylin just got back with a full load of straw that we are gonna now transfer into here for bedding. And we'll dive into nesting boxes, feeders, and waterers as well. But I don't know if you can hear it, but it's pouring rain, so let's get that straw inside. So, whoa. Fucking high pressure situation, eh? Safety glasses, people.
Oh, you got my dorky laugh on there.
Oh
my God, they shoot so far.
We've bought this in the past, and sometimes it comes shredded, and sometimes it doesn't. And when it's shredded, it's a bitch to haul in there, so I'm really hoping that it's, it's definitely shredded.
Yay!
So when it's not shredded, usually it comes in flakes and you can pack them in, where this stuff is like it's been chopped. So it'll be a little less than ideal. Like a lot less than ideal. All right, well, we managed to get all that straw in here, and we're not looking to get it perfect in here, guys. The chickens are going to come in and do their chicken thing, and this will be all leveled out in a matter of a couple hours. But it's all in anyways. And then just for reference, that big bale is around 1,000 pounds. So we did one full bale in here. So 1,000 pounds of straw. And this greenhouse is 25 by 70. And then what we'll do throughout the winter months is that as this starts to get packed down and chickens got chicken manure all over in here, we'll bring in like a very small amount of shavings, probably once throughout the season, just to do a skim coat. And then if we have to, we'll come and we'll put more straw on top. We don't like to put too much shavings in here because this will eventually be hauled out of here in the spring and turned into compost. But if you run too much shavings in there, you're going to have problems with nitrogen lockup. So we just try to use as much straw as possible. And then the reason that we go with the big bales is just for sheer ease of getting it home, and then cost. It's way more expensive if you come in and dump all those little square bales in here. Easier to manhandle to get them in, but you're going to pay a lot more for them. It's better to buy it in bulk and then just do a little bit more manual labor up front. And then in the spring, or in the spring when we muck this out, I've done it by hand. I mean, ideally I'd like to see about getting a machine in here to scoop all this out, but that'll be a problem come spring. So while we're in here quick, let's just do a quick talk about the mesh that we used on the sides. So for the panels on the side, we just used a hog panel style mesh, but we went with a 4-inch square. We've used the ones that you can get like a Home Depot or a Rona in the past, but they're a larger square, like 6 to 8 inches. And we found that when you get your new birds in here, pullets, sometimes they can squeeze through if they get startled and then get stuck between the mesh and the plastic. We've also ran the chickens in here before with no mesh, and they will destroy the plastic. You don't think that they'd really be jumping around in here, but they do do a bit of that. So you can see here where we've had some holes in the past, and they'll actually cut through both layers. So take the time, put the investment in, and if you know you're going to continuously be doing this, I would suggest just putting this on the perimeter, and then you don't have to worry about your plastic. All right, well, it's a new day. It's a beautiful sunny day outside, but it's crazy windy. So we're gonna do our best to get some footage of stuff when we're out there, but it's gonna be a little tricky. But now that we have the straw all down and in place, let's head over, and I'm just gonna go show you guys quickly our one of our summer setups. And we're actually gonna be stealing the nesting boxes out of those summer setups. I'm a big advocate of having things that you can use multiple places. I don't like hard mounting anything if I don't have to. Because what that would do is I would need to have basically double or triple the amount of nesting boxes. So the ones in our summer housing are portable, so that they can get unmounted from there and then brought into here in the summertime. So with that being said, let's head on over and go have a quick look at those. All right, well, we're inside one of our portable range coops for our poultry. These units we picked up a few years ago, and I actually bought 3 of them used from a farm that was selling them. We did a few upgrades. They had just chicken wire around the perimeter, but we bought this 2-inch square metal paneling similar to the hog panels that you've seen in the greenhouse that we're currently working on to, like in this video. This stuff's 2-inch and it's a little bit taller. The reason we went with 2-inch in here is that predominantly these are going to be used for our broiler setup, and we just pull them through the field. But as you can see, we currently have them set up for laying hens. At certain times, if the scheduling hiccups with pullets coming in and places to put them doesn't always line up. So anyways, we had to run some laying hens in these this year, which is where we're going to be stealing these nesting boxes from and why I kept them portable. So you can see that we don't even have them mounted hard. We actually just use hanging basket hooks from our greenhouse setup to hang them on the walls. And we run 2 of these Shenandoah nesting boxes. If you're curious more about these, I do have a video on what I do to split them in half, because normally these 2, this one and this one, would be one piece and they're riveted together, but I split them down the middle so that I can mount them flat on the wall. But if you're interested in that, there is a video somewhere along on this page. But what we'll do today is we're going to take these over and we're just going to get them cleaned up. I usually try to clean the nesting boxes once a year, usually when we do the switch. So we'll clean them once in the fall and then again in the spring before we use them for the summer months. So we'll get these unhooked and then scrubbed up, and then we're going to mount them the same way. We're just going to use these hooks and hang them on the hog panels in the greenhouse. And I think that will be the most effective way to get it set up. If you're curious about these, they're 20 by 12. So they're 12 feet wide, 20 feet long, and they're just built on 4-inch square tubing as skids. And then the actual main structure itself is just a greenhouse structure. And then we mounted nursery plastic on it, so it's white, not clear like greenhouse plastic. In the summertime, if you were to run clear plastic on here, you'd bake your birds. So we just run the white plastic, and it seems to create enough shade in here that the poultry doesn't get too affected by it. And then we also put the roll-up sides on so that we can get nice cross flow through here. And then for feeders and waterers, we normally would just run like a ground feeder, and then we hang a drip water system, like a bell water off of a bucket. And then really the only thing you got to do when you come in here is move the feeders. The waterers are suspended, and then we just pull them daily across the field. This one's already been parked for the winter. So we'll take these 2 nesting boxes first, and then I have 2 more that still have laying hens in them out in the field. So we'll probably wait a few more hours until they're done laying for the day, and then we'll go grab the second collection of eggs, and then we'll pull those nesting boxes out as well and get them hosed down, and then we'll move birds in tonight. Once it gets dark, we'll go out with headlamps and catch them. But anyways, this is our, like I say, summer setup, mostly for broiler birds, but currently using them for lay-in hen production. So let's get these unmounted and then we'll wash them up. So I really just did these zap straps here just to keep this a little tighter. I found that when it's sat like this, it was a little bit shaky. So I just zap strapped that hook a little bit tighter, and it took a lot of that shake and wiggle out. And then like I say, the only thing that's really holding these on is just these hooks here. So we'll get those undone and then we'll pack them over. So one quick thing to note here about these before we take on out of here is the height of them. Like, I know this is about laying hens today, but for broilers, if you've ever tried to catch birds out of those salatin pens, it's a pain in the butt. And usually it's the shortest person in the family that gets sent in there to do that job. we're in here, I can come in. Like I'm over 6 feet and I can come in here and catch birds no problem. So that's something to keep in mind, that when you are planning these things for your farm, is that sometimes as we age, it's nice to have something with a little bit more maneuverability and you're not down on your hands and knees catching things. So it was a nice upgrade for us this year. And the other nice thing is that it's double the size. So those Salatin pens are usually 10 by 12, which we have some on this farm and we still do use them, but we're slowly starting to upgrade. We have 3 of these big range coops now and they're 12 by 20. So basically double the size, and it's just less moves. You can move twice as many birds in half the amount of time. So anyways, they're a nice upgrade, something to think about.
We have 2. And then do we want to like not do this one, do this one?
Well, that would get us pretty far down there. I'd say
Do you want to do both sides then? Like hang 3 on this
yeah,
side?
3 on this side. Yep. Pretty big. Okay guys, we can see that we got all 6 of these all mounted up now. One thing that we're kind of running into here, which we ran into it in those portable range coops too, if you remember those zap straps I had holding those hooks back, is that when you mount them like this, you kind of have them angled pretty extremely down, which is great for rollaway, but it's pretty steep for the chicken to lay in there. So what we're doing now is, instead of using zap straps, is we're just going and using the good old handy baler twine again, and we're simply just cinching these back by well, let's go over here, I'll show you. We're already done, and all we're doing is just coming through on this secondary hook and cinching it back towards the building. So they're still on a bit of a lean, but not near as bad. So we're just coming around the post, just cinching it in as tight as we can, and then just knotting it off. Again, we want to be able to take these out. A guy could just run screws through here, but it defeats the purpose of being portable. We'll just be able to cut these off in the spring and then transfer them back to the portable pens.
Have all the nesting boxes hung. The biggest thing that we did with these is we kind of kept them all at one end of the greenhouse. A lot of the times, especially in the greenhouse, we want to reduce as much flapping and the chickens freaking out as possible. So we don't need to come as far into the greenhouse to collect eggs and do food. If we kind of keep it all up near the front of the greenhouse, then they can kind of run to the back when we enter to feed and collect eggs and all that stuff.
Okay, well, we're just gonna steal these string lights out of the nursery for now. We haven't had a chance to get new ones, so these ones are the most accessible. So we're just gonna pop these off, and then we'll go set them up on a timer in the greenhouse.
This is not a step.
Yeah, it is. Sketchy little ladder though. Super flimsy. Do you think we're gonna need to run two in there or just one?
I think one will be fine.
It was just so dull, like dim in there last year.
They don't really need much.
Yeah, I guess it didn't really make too big of a difference, did it? Okay, so what we're going to be doing is that these greenhouses are 70 feet long, and these string lights, I believe, are 50, and we have power on this first purlin, so we'll plug into that with our timer, and then we're simply just going to string these along, and again, use these greenhouse basket hooks just for simplicity, and we'll just hook these all the way down. You don't need a lot of light in the wintertime. You don't need anything too intense. And then we shoot for 10 hours?
14.
14 hours? Okay, so for a timer, there's 1,000,001 different options that you can get, and I don't think you need to get anything too fancy. We've used the ones in the past that have the time on, time off, where you got to push all the individual buttons. And then we've also got this one here, which is, I guess it, like, better way to word it would be like a sensor based. So
it's a photo sensor, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a photo sensor, so it senses when the day is getting darker, and then it automatically kicks it on, and you can only set it for how many hours past dusk you want it to stay on. We found that these work just as good. I find they're a little less confusing than those dialed ones.
You can kind of just set it and forget it a little bit. I mean, you do have to come out and adjust it like once the day length starts to change again, but you don't have to mess around with it too much.
Yeah, so we've just added an additional 6 hours to the current day length. So it's a little bit more than we need, but we'll plug it in and then we'll test it to make sure that it still works. That is one thing I recommend. It's easy to assume, and we know that especially in our grow room for our seedlings, is that you assume that everything's good until it's not. So we try to check it when we know it's supposed to come on and off throughout the year, just to verify that it is actually working and coming on at the right time. Not so crucial in here because it's a greenhouse, we'll be able to see it from the house, but when we're using timers for the seedling sale and seedling room, it's in a sealed room and you don't know if it's actually coming on or not at the right time. So anyways, it's good to check. So with that being said, we're gonna come through and we will unplug all the fans because we don't need the circulation fans on right now. And then we'll be able to turn the breaker back on so we have power to the timer. Okay, well, it finally got dark. We ended up getting those feeders all set up temporarily. We still got a few more to bring in there. So we loaded up the horse trailer and we just finished loading up the first coop. There was actually 101 in there, which was good. So we're just pulling up to the second coop here now, and we got all hands on deck. So we'll see if we can't get some footage of us catching these next. Should be about 100. We try to run about 100 in each one of these range coops. And then once we get them all loaded up, we'll transfer them over to the greenhouse. The timer is working. It's lit up like a Christmas tree right now, that greenhouse. It looks pretty good. So we'll just back this into position and start loading. Okay, so we've already come in and gotten rid of the feeders and the waters. So it's all very open in here. This pen is all at the front. The last pen was all at the back. You can see a couple are actually roosting up on the paneling. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna come in and we're just gonna grab, we'll try to grab like 4 at a time, all by the feet. Once they hang upside down, they stay pretty calm. And then from there, we'll just transfer them over to the horse trailer for now. And then you can see we already got the first pen in here. So these birds are all the same age. They're actually the same flock when we got them, and then we split them into their pens. So we'll get them all moved into here. Like that game at the fair, eh? You drop the quarter in, it falls, and then it pushes the money to the edge. You push one chicken and 7 fall off. Okay guys, well, we managed to get those chickens unloaded last night. It's the first time we've tried doing it that way, just backing the trailer in on a corner. And it actually worked pretty good. They all just kind of went into the light.
It helped.
As that sounds, but
It helped that she was under the trailer,
yeah,
making sure no one went that way.
and the dog was underneath. We did lose a few kind of out here into the dark, but we caught them. We just figured we'd try it. It's kind of nice to not have to double catch them. It's a little bit less stressful. They were able to just kind of walk right in.
Oop.
And then what I should have done there is knocked. Normally we knock first, but
Stay.
so now that I scared the shit out of them, that's kind of what Shailene was referring to yesterday, like why we did everything at this end. So they had the opportunity to kind of go to that end while we do all of our work here, and then they can come back and mingle. But we'll just get these feeders filled up and then check the water. Look on the ground. All right, well, you can see the chickens settled in just fine into their winter housing. And with that being said, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.